Good boy, Bob.
I tell you what, there's nothing quite like a plate of your favourite grub. Our favourite tucker feeds our bodies and souls.
Well, thank you.
That's okay.
So, in this series, I'm celebrating the dishes closest to all our hearts.
Lovely.
I've spoken to some fellow chefs to ask them what dishes they love the most.
Look at that beauty.
Oh, it smells delicious.
Trust me, you've got to try it.
I've had a few famous faces round to cook their favourite food for me.
She's in the house.
Hot and spicy here, babe.
Like a bit of spice.
So do I.
Can't concentrate, Ainsley.
And I've been doing some culinary reminiscing of my own, cooking up some of the most treasured recipes I've collected over the years.
Do you like your brownies gooey? Yes, yes, I do.
The result is a collection of wonderful recipes from around the world that I know are going to inspire you to get into your own kitchens, to cook up and spruce up some of your old favourites.
Welcome to the food we love. The theme today is school days. We'll be updating classic dishes from our school canteens. Good, hearty nosh, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, evoking memories of our youth. Pussycat Doll, singer, actress and dancer, all-round superstar Kimberly Wyatt is rustling me up her school-time favourite, a cheese and bean tortilla. I just love the way you're floating around my kitchen as if it's yours.
Mac, I'm pretending I own it.
I know. My old mate Brian Turner will be sharing his version of a classic school dinner, cheese and leek pudding.
Those leeks, look, I can't wait. I'm salivating, I really am.
Baking star Juliet Sear will be sharing one of her favourite school-time treats, a twist on the cornflake tart.
This combination is so much better than strawberry jam. Trust me, you've got to try it.
And I'm taking on a retro school pud with a twist, jam and coconut sponge with nutmeg custard. But first, I'm going to be taking you back to a textbook school dinner. Shepherd's pie with peas. Well, actually, I'm going to put a bit of mint in my peas, but it's an absolute classic, isn't it? It's something that really takes you back to those days at school. Quite simple to do, actually. Different people have different methods, but what I like to do is I like to incorporate a lot of vegetables into the actual pie. So I've got some carrots and celery here. I'm just going to chop those up, throw that into the food processor. OK, lock that up, give that a bit of a blitz. I think that's enough, all right? I've started sweating my onions here. We're just cooking that down, but notice there's no colour on those onions, all right? So that requires quite a low heat just to cook that. And then we can pop in our celery and chopped carrots, OK, frying that off. So when they start to sweat down a little bit, the sweetness starts to come out of your vegetables, then you know that it's time to add your meat. And we've got some lovely lamb mince there. Little flecks of fat. Fat is flavour, so don't be frightened of that. OK, that's going in. Quite a high heat now. Just turning that over. Look at that, perfect. All of that's in there, cooking down. Now I've got some fresh thyme and bay leaf there. Just one bay leaf's enough. Now that's cooking down really lovely. And when we get to that stage, we can start to put in a bit more body into it. And that means adding things like a bit of tomato puree can go in there. Tomato puree also is going to be a bit of a thickening agent. And in order to get a little bit of sharpness in there too, nothing wrong with adding a bit of ketchup, stirring that into our mince. There we are. I've got a bit of Worcester sauce going on there. Let's open that up. Give that a little bit of a shake. Wussy, wussy, wussy. Here's me putting all of these things into my lovely shepherd's pie. But I'm thinking, didn't smell like that at school, did it? Eh? There was that... There was that kind of bland smell that used to kind of waft around the corridors of the school. Wasn't particularly appealing. But it so reminded you of school dinners, didn't it? It really did. Oh, it was lovely. OK. And now that I've got that in there, I've got my lamb stock. And if you wanted to, if you hadn't got lamb stock, a bit of chicken stock or a bit of vegetable stock's OK. Now, you want to cook that down for a good, I'd say a good 20 minutes. You'll know that all of that stock will be absorbed or it will reduce down, it become quite concentrated in flavour. Absolutely perfect to sit on the base of our dish. Over here, I've cooked my potatoes, bit of salted boiling water, all right? Still nice and firm. I'm just going to drain those. People sometimes say, what is the secret of a good mashed potato? And I think actually allowing them to dry out a little bit. That means when they go into the colander, just allowing them to breathe a little bit, OK? I'm going to be using a ricer. One of those nice things to invest in. If you haven't got that, a potato masher's fine. Now, one of the reasons that the ricer is so useful here is because it really does mean that everything is lovely and smooth. And because today I'm going to get a little bit chefy, what I mean by that is I'm actually going to pipe my potato on top of my mincemeat, and then we can start to mix together our beautiful mashed potato. I've got some butter, all right, so I'm going to take my little cubes of butter and pop that straight into the mash, work that a little bit. OK. A touch of milk. That's it. And for me, a little grating of nutmeg. It's one thing that my mum always used to do is put just a little touch of nutmeg into the mashed potato. Perhaps it's a Caribbean thing, I'm not sure, but it does add a lovely, lovely flavour to the mash. A little bit of salt going in there. Now, look at that. That's really coming together. Now, you want it sort of fairly kind of smooth. Can you imagine putting this into a piping bag? And you also want to kind of knock some of that steam out of it so it's not too hot. OK, mint. Now, once you cook down your mint, I want you to transfer that into a tray and allow that to cool down. All right, that's what I've done here, is I've taken my mint, I've cooled it right down. Can you see that? That's it. And then we can start to pipe up mash on top. I'll tell you what, they didn't make mash like this at school, did they, eh? I think there was a lot of, probably a bit of powdered stuff going on, I'm not sure. When I think back at school dinners, remember when chips were on? Oh, I loved it. Everybody was going mad for the chips. All right, then pop that into your oven, 200 degrees centigrade, gas mark 6, for about 25 to 30 minutes. Pop that light on after about 25 to see if it's lovely golden, because everything is cooked. You're just looking for that lovely colour. OK, now, what are we going to serve with our shepherd's pie? I promised you peas, and here they are. Pop them in the microwave if you want for 2 minutes, tablespoon of water, cover it with a bit of cling film, which will mean that your pea still has a bit of a bite to it. Bit of butter into your pan. So melt that down a little bit. In with your peas. I'm going to add a little bit of lemon zest to that. OK, nothing more. I don't want any juice in there, just a touch of zest. And I said minted peas, so there's my fresh mint from the garden. OK, there you go. The mint's in there, the lemon zest is in there. Let's serve up. Beautiful. OK, let's get a nice portion of that. Here we are. Oh, I don't know about you, there's something about having a little crunchy top when you make a shepherd's pie and you cut through with it with a knife. You know, that little sound, really, really lovely. That's all right, beautiful. There's some peas. And dare I say, to finish things off, just this minutest amount of chopped parsley on top. Wow, there you go. Memories of school days gone by. Shepherd's pie with minted peas. Baking superstar Juliet Sear will be showing us her spin on cornflake tart. Oh, you don't want to miss that. But for now, we've got American royalty in the house. I'm delighted to welcome Pussycat Doll Kimberly Wyatt. Hey. How you doing?
I'm all right, thank you.
Wonderful to have you here.
good to be here.
Hey, what were school days like for you?
I mean, I loved school. The lunches, on the other hand, were not always the best. It was like plastic cheese at times, and probably not the healthiest. But I think that's now inspired me to try and make it fun for my kids, try and really teach them source to plate and where your food comes from and make it exciting.
Okay, and you talked about sort of cheese. Do they still have cheese in cans? Remember that squirty cheese
Oh yeah,
you could get?
oh yeah.
You could still get
little
that.
squirty can. Oh yeah, on your crackers. Good to go.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I think I've had some of that myself. I have. What are you going to cook for us today then, Kimberly?
So I have quite a fussy 5-year-old, and getting her to eat vegetables and be excited about it is quite difficult. So today I'm doing a bean and cheese roll-up.
Beautiful.
Which is how I get the kids involved. They can kind of assemble and make it the way they want. But there's one rule, is you have to put a little bit of green in there.
Yeah, I can see that, Kimby. And you've got your avocado, your lettuce, tomatoes there. You can't get much healthier than that, can you? All right, then you carry on and let's see how this all comes together.
All right.
5-year-old, and what are the ages of the other children?
So I've got a 5-year-old, will be 3 next month, and Senna is just 9 months old. Yeah, so he's just getting into food and he loves it.
And everyone's looking, thinking, don't she look good? Eh?
Thanks, guys.
All those lovely, lovely children. Was your mother sort of one of those people that took you in the kitchen and sort of said, come on, Kimberly, I'm going to show you how to do things?
No, she wasn't, but she was when it came to baking. So being a competitive dancer, I needed costumes and wanted to go to nationals and pay all these tuition. So my mum and I would bake together and sell them in order to raise the money that was needed. So a lot of my kitchen memories was baking with my mum or doing barbecue.
Oh, I love a bit of baking, but now you're warming through those refried beans. Well, I'm cooking on gas. Do you like cooking on gas, or what do you cook on at home?
Well, I do. I really enjoy cooking on gas, but at home I have electric and an auger. So I'm out of my practice with the gas oven or a gas stove.
That's perfectly all right. You're doing very, very well indeed. Yeah. And your little 5-year-old, inspired by you in the kitchen then? You talk about getting her to eat healthily?
Yeah, we really do our best. The 5-year-old is probably the pickiest of the bunch. So getting her to like and enjoy vegetables is like the focus. So we've done, we try and grow as much of our food at home as possible. The idea is to one day be sustainable and grow all of it, but we'll see how it goes. We live next door to a farm, so I often take them picking. And then that seems to help them sort of get into the swing of, maybe these things aren't so bad.
Yeah. Talking about getting into the swing of things, Kimberly, what was it like for you at school? Because you're amazing at dancing, you choreograph now, you do so many different things. So where did your inspiration come from?
I mean, I started dance because I loved watching the Olympics. I loved watching figure skating and the gymnasts and everything they could do. So I started
with... The gymnastics too, wasn't it? I just love it, because they almost dance on those little parallel bars.
Absolutely.
And stuff. You know,
and then they get the ribbons out and the balls, and I was like, yes! So it started with watching that and loving it. And then luckily, the place I went to start gymnastics offered loads of other styles of dance, and I quickly got started and fell in love, and that became my life, really.
Wow. So what can you remember the first gig that you did that kind of felt that I'm good at this, I can do this?
One of my first big jobs was dancing at the Paralympics opening ceremonies in Salt Lake City. Wow. And yeah.
Did you see yourself? Was your mum looking at the TV thinking, where are you? Because, you know, there's so many people.
There's so many people, exactly. I'd be like, I'm the reindeer from the far left, 2 people over.
I'm behind the cow, I'm the back of the cow. You know? Oh, lovely. I just love the way you're floating around my kitchen as if it's yours.
I'm pretending I own it.
I know, I love all that
It's the only
stuff.
way.
So tell us, where did this dish come from then?
So this dish came from, I grew up in the States, and Mexican food is a massive part of our meals, and one of our favorite meals to eat growing up. So I was running out of ideas to keep it exciting in the house with my 5-year-old picky eater. So I was having to think about how do I get her involved, make her feel excited about what she's eating and feel a part of it. And I was like, I gotta go back to my Mexican food roots. So I came up with the roll-ups, which is something I would have eaten a lot as a kid, whether it was a bean and cheese roll-up or the American classic PB&J.
Yeah.
PB&J roll-up before dance class was an ultimate go-to.
Perfect. Just kept you going, didn't it?
Just keeps you going.
Okay, so we kept tortillas. You've got a variety of tortillas there.
I do, yeah.
I like the idea of them. I like the idea of just doing things with tortillas. They're so simple, they're so versatile.
That's it, and we hadn't really gone that direction. I was kind of keeping it British and wanting to learn a lot of more of the British-style cuisines and introduce that to the family. But then I realized when you run out of ideas, you got to go with what you know. And so I've landed on Mexican food.
Okay, put it all
Brought
together.
It in.
Let's have a look. Oh, Kim, so you can really see that Tex-Mex influence you were talking about with those refried beans and that lovely grated cheese.
My oldest would want just beans and cheese, but I push her as much as I can to just adventure out a little bit. And the rule is you've got to put something green in there.
Yeah.
So
Got to be a little bit healthy, haven't we?
You do.
Yeah.
So even if it's just a couple of avocado, I'll just sneak it in.
Fab.
Bit of coriander, bit of tomato. This is the hard part, is having 3 British children, and I have my accent, obviously, but if I say tomato, she comes up, Mummy, it's not tomato. It's tomato.
It's tomato.
So now I don't know where my accent
absolutely.
is.
Mother, do not incur my displeasure. It's tomato.
My husband, Max, says that they're fixing me.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, look at that. I love that little bit of coolness from the sour cream in there. That's lovely. And now you're ready to roll up, roll up. How quick is that, Kimberly? Wow. That's fantastic. Yeah, just pop that on the plate. Hey, look at this, everybody.
It is. Yeah. Easy, simple, get the kids involved.
Oh, Kimberly Wyatt, it's been wonderful having you in my kitchen. Can you name that wonderful dish for me?
So we call this a bean and cheese roll-up at home.
It's got that American Mexican twang to it, hasn't it?
Yes, it
Hey,
does.
this is so lovely.
Like it.
You know what's so nice about this, Kimberly? It's so easy to do. And I think you talked about your 5-year-old helping you do it. I can imagine just kids going, I want to have a go at that. Kind of spreading things and putting all your different ingredients and stuff like that. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Thank
Hey,
you.
guys, guess what? There's still so much more to come as we continue with our school dinners reunion. We're off to see my old mucker. Yes, the master himself, Brian Turner, who's heading back to school with an old food memory of his. Yes, it's cheese and leek pudding.
Now, those were the days, Ainsley, were they not? I have to say, I've got some great memories, not all to do with food at school, but nevertheless, when we ate school meals, I used to love cheese and onion pudding. So I'm going to make now a cheese and leek pudding, and I'm going to put a bit of double cream in there. They wouldn't allow that at school. However, here goes. So the first thing we need to do, nice bit of butter in there. I mean, this is so simple, but it actually is so tasty. Right, so I've got some cheddar cheese here, a really good mature cheese. And all I'm going to do is take that cheese, and where the butter is, it'll stick. So we've got some leeks here, and we just cooked them, a little bit more than blanched them, but not overcooked them, in boiling salted water and drained them off, and we're going to chop them up now. You can just hear that they're not cooked, but they're not raw. They smell delicious. Right, so I'm going to put the double cream into the pan here. I just want to warm it. I don't want to boil it. I'll put a bit of milk in there. And whilst that's just warming up, we take our cheese mixture back over here, and I'm going to put into here some cayenne pepper, just a little bit, and some nutmeg. Oh, look at that. Plenty of nutmeg for me, huh? And I've got 4 eggs here, lovely eggs. And then just give that a stir around and mix that all in. So we've got the cheese. We're almost ready to go now. My mother used to make this dish at home as well because she knew we loved it so much. So the first thing we do is we take the chopped leeks and we put a nice layer in there, about a third. Then we take the breadcrumbs and we put a nice layer. Now that's not difficult, Ainsley, you could do this. Some more leeks. And you can see that the poorer you were, and we were quite poor in those days, the more breadcrumbs you put in and the less leeks you put in. A little bit of cheese mixture goes on there first. And then I want to let the rest down with this milk and cream. Give it a stir. As I say, we don't want it to boil. And then just pour that over the top. And if you've got the time, it's nice to let this just set and soak in. Oh, I can just taste that cheese already. You know, this is so simple. The children can make this, and it goes into the oven, 180 degrees, for about 45 minutes to an hour. Then we take it out and we let it set, and then we're going to serve it with a little secret ingredient that they never served it at school, but it works wonderful. So now the smells are just fantastic. It's been in for about half an hour. It does now need to set. So what we're going to do, just look at that. My school people will be so proud of that, they really would. So I'm going to leave that there for about 5-10 minutes to set up. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to serve this, as I said, with something slightly different. I'm going to serve this with some lightly pickled beetroot. So the first thing I need to do is put a bit of butter in the frying pan. And then this is cooked and peeled beetroot. We just need to stew it in a bit of the butter. And I'm going to put a few cumin seeds in there. Give it a bit of a texture, a bit of a crunch, but they also have a lovely aroma. Now we just need to heat this all the way through. And I've also got just a little bit of fresh thyme. It smells delicious. Salt and pepper. And then take it off the heat. A little bit of white wine vinegar. We're not pickling it, but just giving it a hint of being pickled. Just make sure it doesn't splash too much over you. And then we can start to put it on the plate. Just a lovely colour contrasting against the beautiful white plate. Now I'm just going to take a nice slice of my bread pudding with leeks. Oh, it smells delicious. Those leeks, look, I can't wait. I'm salivating, I really am. Ainsley, you're going to love this. Bit of the juice over the top. This is not my school dish, but they created it. They inspired me. And look at that. Ainsley, I wish I was back at school again.
Well, that was sensational, Chef. Thank you very much indeed. Brian Turney knows how to bring food alive, even the classics. And I love the way that he modernised it with a little bit of that beetroot and fresh thyme. Very nice indeed. Bit naughty, wasn't it? Bit like the dish I'm going to prepare for you now. Mac and cheese with bacon and leeks. Really delicious. I've already started off my bacon in the pan there over a nice low heat, just to allow that to kind of bleed a little bit. What I mean by bleeding is just releases the oil and the flavour starts to come out. Pancetta or bacon, absolutely fine. Sweat that off in your pan. And then I've got a couple of leeks that I've got here. Well, it's a leek actually, I said a couple, just a couple of pieces. And we're just slicing this up. And as I pick that up, I'm just going to give that a little bit of a squeeze, just kind of rustle that between my fingers, give it a little bit of a rub and kind of separate some of those little leek slices a bit. All right, let's turn that heat up a little bit more now. That's it, lovely. And again, we're just going to soften that up. You can add a touch of colour to it, but not too much colour. All right, what we don't want, of course, to happen is for this to start to brown, to get a little bit too dark. It is going into a white sort of creamy sauce, so you want to keep that theme. You want to keep everything kind of quite sort of light. Do you know what I mean? To make it nice, all right? Lovely. Now, how we bring all of this together eventually is by combining it with a white sauce. And a lot of us get a bit, you know, a bit intimidated by cooking white sauces, don't we? We kind of think something's going to happen. It really is quite simple. You take your butter, you warm your pan slightly, we put the butter into my saucepan. Don't let that burn, all right? So you can see that I've got that over very low heat. So then, just as that melts down, we put our flour in there. Plain flour, all right? This is just a good old-fashioned roux, they call it, R-O-U-X, roux. OK, you can see that now, look at that, this is it. It's almost beginning to change colour a little bit. I'm just going to pick that up. Look, there you go. Can you see that? That's it, that's what you're looking for. You can feel it, you can feel the sandy texture there. And then we're going to add a little bit of mustard to that. You don't have to add mustard. I like a little bit of the old Dijon mustard. Of course, if you just want to bung in a bit of English mustard, or no mustard at all. Just, I think it kind of adds to the dish a little bit. And then we can start adding the milk. Now, if you're going to be adding cold milk, it's going to take a little bit longer, all right? And when you first put it in there, you think, oh, it's all gone horribly wrong. And what I mean by that is that you get that kind of blobby stage. But really, don't panic, all right? That's just it sort of making its way to the next stage. A little bit more milk. And if you do get confused and you're worried that it's getting a little bit lumpy, just put a little whisk in there. OK, again, over a medium heat. All right, you could leave it for a sec, just break that down and then stir again. Just giving my leeks and bacon a little bit of a stir there. Look at that. That's lovely. I love that smell, don't you? The sweetness of the leeks as they start to sort of bleed a little bit and combined with the bacon, really, really lovely. Now, look, this is when people say to me, it's all gone horribly wrong, Ains, it's gone terribly lumpy. This is what they mean. Look, can you see that? It's lumpy. But all you've got to do is keep, if you've only got a wooden spoon, I want to do this, just keep stirring. And look what happens. Look, all the lumps disappear. Yeah, all the lumps disappear. You end up with a smooth sauce. You don't have to shake your hips like me, but it does help. No, truthfully, just keep stirring that around and it's a little bit more thick, and gradually you'll find that you'll get to the perfect consistency. Keep stirring that around. That's it. I've turned off the leeks and the bacon now, all right, because the residual heat is just enough in there. And that's it, right. That's beautiful. So that's coming together really well. And look at that. Look, you've got a lovely, smooth, kind of glossy sauce, OK? None of those lumps are in there. Look at that. That's really what we're looking for. And over here, I've got one which is absolutely perfect. The perfect consistency. It's almost like a double cream consistency. Really, really lovely. Now, let's take our cheese here. People say, what's the secret of a good mac and cheese? Cheese. You get a nice bit of cheese. Oh, makes all the difference, all right? I'm just going to grate our cheese straight into our white sauce. Did you used to have the mac and cheese at school? Oh, yeah, we used to have mac and cheese at school. And not everybody's favourite, actually, because it did form a bit of a skin on top. And I think there was ham. And if I'm right, it wasn't leeks, it was peas that were in it. Do you remember peas being in there? I think that was really lovely, actually. Now, I've just put in a little bit of white pepper. Again, white sauce, white pepper. It's a bit like mashed potato. Just, unless you're calling it, you know, black pepper mash. Just put the white pepper in there, all right? And this is what we've got here now. And this is beginning to melt beautifully. The heat of the sauce is just melting that cheese straight away. That's perfect. OK, to that, I'm going to add that to my macaroni. I pre-cooked my macaroni, so cook it according to packet instructions. Please don't overcook it. If it says 8 to 10 minutes or 10 to 12 minutes, do the 10 or the 8 minutes, all right? Because it's going to go again in the oven or under a grill, so it's going to continue to cook. All right, try and keep that, any of your pasta, try and keep it with a little bit of a bite. OK, that's going into our bowl. OK, and we've got our bacon and leeks. Look at those, look. Can you see what I mean? Just that little tinge of colour to those leeks. Lovely. That's it. Kind of mix that through a little bit there like that. That's all right. Fab. And then we can add our sauce to that too. There you go. Now, you could have put this all inside your saucepan, but I just wanted to see how it all comes together, how it all combines together. All right? And just give that a little bit of a stir like that. And then I've got a combination here of grated Parmesan cheese and some breadcrumbs that I'm going to mix together. The idea is that's going to be my topping, all right? Ooh. Now, sprinkling this is the cheese and the breadcrumbs that I've combined here. And I've mixed that with just a little bit of white pepper in here. We're just sprinkling that on top. Be quite generous so you get that lovely, crunchy, crusty top when you pop that into the oven. All right? And then, as my mates used to say, oh, that's the perfect dinner, Ains.
There you go.
Pop that under, I like to put it under the grill and the oven and leave that there for about 15 or 20 minutes until it's lovely and golden, and bang, we are ready to go. OK, I think we're about ready to go now. It's about the smell, isn't it? Sometimes you can, oh, look at that. Sometimes you can smell things, and sometimes you can't wait to taste them. Wow. Hey, just check that out. Look at that. Ah. Macaroni cheese in all its glory. School days, yes, please.
I'm making a classic school canteen dish and I'm giving it a special twist just for you. First up, we're going to make the pastry. So in goes some plain flour and some diced, very cold butter. I'm just going to blitz it a few times until it resembles breadcrumbs. If you don't have a food processor, you can just do it between your fingers and thumbs. So just give that a check. Perfect. So that's nice and crumbly. Now add some cold water and just bring it together until it forms a dough. There we go. So just gently bring it together, wrap it up in some cling film. There we go. So that just needs to rest in the fridge and chill for about 30 minutes. My pastry's been chilling for 30 minutes, now it's nice and firm. So I'm just gonna stretch it out to an oval, and as I go, just keep making sure it's a nice circle. Quarter turn, and just keep rolling until it's big enough to line the tin. And now I just need to lift it into the tin. So the best way to do that is use your rolling pin. So I'm going to pop it down there and just pick up the edge furthest away from me. Just carefully tuck it over and then just lay it over the tin like that. So just let it sort of drop in. Don't worry too much if you get the odd tear. Just try and swiftly encourage it to sit down into the base of the tin like that. Right, so that's ready to go back in the fridge for at least 30 minutes, and then it will be time to bake it. Now it's time to prick some holes in the base, and that's just going to make sure that the pastry doesn't bubble up and rise up with any trapped air. Right, so now I need to line it with some baking parchment. So it's a good idea just to scrunch it up, just because it's fun anyway. And that's going to help it to sit in the tin better. There we go, that's all nice and tight in there. And I'm going to use some ceramic baking beans just to weight down the paper so that when it bakes it's not going to puff up. That needs to bake in the oven on 180 for about 20 minutes. Then I'll remove the paper and the beans and bake it off for a further about 10 or so until it's almost completely cooked. The pastry case is cooked, so now I just need to trim it so it's nice and neat with the top edge of the tin. It's one of my favourite things to do, shaving pastry. I'm a bit sad like that. There we go, so that's all done. So now it's time to do the filling, and this is where the twist comes in. Traditionally at school, well, I always used to have strawberry jam in the cornflake topping, but I'm using salted caramel, and it goes so well together with that malted, crunchy cornflake topping. Trust me, it is next level. And just with the palette knife, you can just use the back of the spoon, but I've got a palette knife. I'm just gonna flatten it. So just spreading it nice and evenly so it reaches the edge of the case. And this is gonna be a delicious base for that crunchy golden topping. So let's get that cornflake topping done. In my pan, I've got some golden syrup, and to that, I'm gonna add some butter and some light muscovado sugar. And I'm gonna gently heat this just until it all melts together. And now simply chuck in those cornflakes. It smells absolutely heavenly. It's taking me right back to school. Perfect. Oh, can't wait for this. Now it's a case of just simply plopping it all over the top and just spreading it down. So on it goes. This combination is so much better than strawberry jam. Trust me, you've got to try it. There we go. So that's ready for the oven. Just another 5 minutes and then it's done. Would you look at that? It smells incredible. There you have it, my cornflake tart with a salty caramel base. I always used to love having this with ice cream at school, but some people preferred custard. What are you going to have with yours?
Well, Juliet, that was really, really lovely. And that salted caramel, naughty. Delicious, isn't it? Oh, just love it. Now, what was your favourite pudding at school? I say pudding because we didn't have desserts. It was all about puds, wasn't it? Certainly, my favourite is the one I'm going to share with you now. Jam and coconut sponge with custard. Do you remember that one? Do you remember it? I loved it. We're going to start off with our butter going into our bowl. OK, room temperature butter. Here we've got the sugar. I'm just using white caster sugar here. And then with the beaters, we want to get this nice and creamy now. So straight in with the beaters. I know it's not so nice when the beaters are on because you can't hear me sing. You can't hear my my voice when I'm talking to you. You know what I mean? Now you want to beat this until it's light and fluffy. And when it starts to get pale, gradually incorporate your beaten egg into it. Start it off nice and slowly with those beaters, all right? And there we are. Look at that. You can see that's well mixed in there. That's what we're looking for. A little bit of vanilla going in there too. Lovely. And that's going to be followed by my flour. OK, in with our coconut. That's just desiccated coconut. And in with that milk to moisten everything up beautifully. And just fold that in and bring that all together. Transfer that now into our parchment-lined baking tray. Oh, lovely. That's it. Give that a little bit of a spread out, even that out. All right. There you go. You always knew at school when it was jam and coconut sponge day because you could smell it. It's just got that wonderful smell to it. And of course, yeah, thinking about that now, what was your favourite? I mean, there's so many different things that went with jam, wasn't there? We had jam roly-poly, that was a good one. Hey, 180 degrees centigrade, that's 160 if you like, in the fan, and gas mark 4. You're going to pop that in there into the oven for about 25, 30 minutes till that's lovely and springy to the touch, or you can insert a little tip of a knife if you want, and it should come out absolutely clean, all right? Now, let's pop that in there. Now, I've got my other one that's cooked there. Oh, now, you want to spread the jam on that whilst it's still warm. It's a little bit hot at the moment, so just let it cool for a few minutes. Let's get on with the custard, shall we? OK, simple enough to do, really it is. I've got my egg yolks here, or eggs, there we are, into the bowl. Along with my sugar sprinkled on the top. Now, this is the secret corn flour. I like it to be a little bit thick. I'm trying to remind you of school days, so bung in the corn flour, right? A little bit of corn flour. Now, in with the vanilla paste. All right, then. That's not the extract, that's the paste, slightly thicker. And then the cream. OK, and then we beat that together. Simple enough. We're not waiting for anything to go pale here. We're just giving that a good mix, combining all those lovely flavours. And then to that, we're going to add our milk. Just see that I've just warmed this milk here. OK, that's it, lovely. Then we're going to transfer the custard back into our saucepan. I know it looks like a little bit of a faff, but that's what we have to do. Then back onto our heat. All right, and gently stir that around until everything comes together. Here's one I made already. Absolutely lovely. Lovely, smooth custard. But you know what I like about this? Is that lovely thickness of it. Here, let me just give you an idea of what we're talking about here. Look at that, look. Look at that. Beautiful custard. Right, now, what about this sponge? Just warm, just nice. OK. And what about our jam? Here it is. Look at that, eh? Just get that. Oh. I'm just going to put it all on there. Be quite generous with that, because that's what really makes it. Just spreading that over there like that. Look at this. There we are, all the way to the edge there. Really tease that, there it is at the edge. Just bring that in there, look at that. Oh, absolutely lovely. And you pick up your coconut. Make sure it's a bit loose. If it has been on the packet, sometimes it gets a little bit tight, doesn't it? Or it's just a little bit too dry. Memories coming back now? Yeah? OK, shall we serve you a bit? Why not? Can I have the middle bit, please, miss? All right, then. Oh, wow. Just look at that. Oh, hold on a minute. We ain't finished yet. There's my little jug. And there you have it, my jam and coconut sponge with lashings of custard. And that rounds off our nostalgic field trip to the school canteens. Shepherd's pie with minted peas, cheese and leek pudding. Mac and cheese with bacon and leeks. Cornflake tart. And a jam and coconut sponge with custard. Oh, they take you back, don't they? Sorry, miss, the dog ate me homework. That's the school bell. Lessons are over for today. So, see you again very soon.
Yeah, good boy, Bob. I'll tell you what, there's nothing quite like a plate of your favourite grub. Our favourite tucker feeds our bodies and souls.
Well, thank you.
That's okay.
So, in this series, I'm celebrating the dishes closest to all our hearts.
Lovely.
I've spoken to some fellow chefs to ask them what dishes they love the most.
Look at that beauty.
It smells delicious.
Trust me, you've got to try it.
I've had a few famous faces round to cook their favourite food for me.
She's in the house. Hot and spicy here, babe.
Like a bit of spice.
So do I.
Can't concentrate, Ainsley.
And I've been doing some culinary reminiscing of my own, cooking up some of the most treasured recipes I've collected over the years.
Do you like your brownies gooey? Yes, yes I do.
The result is a collection of wonderful recipes from around the world that I know are going to inspire you to get into your own kitchens, to cook up and spruce up some of your old favourites.
Welcome to the food we love.
The inspiration today is the great British tradition. tea. From beautiful cakes to savoury bakes, the type of food that makes you go, Pop the kettle on. Actor, singer and dancer John Partridge is in my kitchen rustling up a tea time treat, sausage rolls with a quick tomato chutney.
And I promise you, it is going to be the best darn pastry you've ever had in your life. Yes.
Queen of all things baking, Juliet Sear, is combining two favourite tea time staples and creating a layered scone inspired by the Victoria spun.
And now the clotted cream. Lashings and lashings, look at that.
The lovely Candice Brown delights us with a gin and tonic drizzle cake. And if that wasn't enough, she's serving it with Rocky Road cookies.
And just look at that beauty.
And I've got a special treat for you with my trio of savoury tarts to round everything off. But first, it's the old king of the dessert trolley. Yes, the ultimate chocolate indulgence. Oh, this is my take on the Black Forest Gâteau. What I'm going to be doing for you is my Black Forest brownies with Kirsch cream. Oh, wait till you try it. Now, first of all, I've got my chocolate and butter that I've been melting here. Have a look at that. Can you see that? The butter's melted, the chocolate's started to melt a little bit. I put that over a very, very gentle heat, and we're just going to combine that together. Just stir that round. And at one point, you think it's separated. It's never going to, blend together beautifully. And then the harmony starts to happen, and the beautiful texture starts to blend and shine and everything. Oh, and it really does become incredibly silky and gorgeous. Have a look at that. That's what you're looking for, all right? And then, to that, I'm going to start to add my sugars. I say sugars because I'm using two different types of sugar here. First, I've got 130 grams of soft brown sugar, all of that going in. And then, I've got 130 grams of caster sugar. Now, the reason that I'm using two different types of sugar is that brown sugar gives you a slight toffier taste when it comes to your brownies. Stir that around. Be a little bit patient with it, like when you add sugar to a cup of tea or something like that. It doesn't happen instantly, so you just have to stay there a little bit and just stir that. That's it. Now, what's your favourite tea time treat? All these wonderful things we're talking about today. I love tea time. My mother was a great one for baking. Constantly, having cakes and stuff like that. Used to show off. All the people would come from the church and, oh, hello, Mrs. Harriott. Oh, hello, my dear. And they'd sit down there and she'd take out her scones or whatever she'd baked. And it was lovely. It really does. It's a way of bringing people together. Now, once we've done that, okay, the sugar's gone in there, we can start to add our eggs. One at a time. Just crack your egg. In it goes. There you go. And stir that in like that. And the next one. There you go. Fab. And just beat that in. What I like about this recipe, of course, is that it's just kind of easy. It all happens in the pot. Throw it into your pan, bake it for 15 minutes, add your cherries, back in the oven again, done, really. And that means it's simple to do. Stir that one in. That's it. Actually, I'm going to give that a little bit of a beat now with my beater. It's kind of re-glossed itself again. Yeah? That's beautiful. And then we're going to fold in our flour. That's it, just straight in like that. There you go. There you go. I've got some chocolate chips just to enhance that whole chocolate experience. I put chocolate chips into my brownies too. And we're just going to fold those in. Anyway, a few years ago when I started out as a chef, our Black Forest Gâteau was quite popular then. Oh, guys, look at this. And then you just take your mixture and we're just going to pour that into our parchment-lined baking tray here. Look at that. That's it, beautiful. And this is very important. I want you to pay attention to this because we're going to pop that into the oven. That's 180 degrees centigrade for 15 minutes. Then I'm taking it out and then going to position my cherries, then put it back into the oven for another 10 or 15 minutes. Crispy top, gooey middle, absolutely perfect. Whip up your cream, cup of tea, and dream. All right, about time we took those brownies out. Wow, there you go. What you've got to think about now is how big do I want my brownies? I think if we cut those in nines, so very gently, just run your knife like that along there. Okay, can you see that? Just like that. And then the other side like this. Beautiful. And then we take our cherries and we're just going to pop the cherries just inside there like that. Can you see that? Just to kind of break that crust just a little bit. I've taken the stone out of these cherries, and you're probably thinking, why didn't you put them in before, Ainge? Well, if I did put them in before, they'd sink to the bottom. Just push them in like that. There you go. And then we return those to the oven for another 12, 15 minutes. Keep an eye on them. Still want that little bit of wobble. We want that crustiness on the top there, and they'll be ready to go once they're chilled down. Okay. Okay, now, I promised you'd have a little Kirsch cream to serve with it because traditionally when you do a Black Forest Gatto, you know, you've got that lovely cream with a bit of Kirsch going through. A bit of whipping cream. You don't need to do double cream. Get a bit of air in there before you add your sweetness. Then I've got my icing sugar, so we can start to put that in.
Can you see me? Hello, I'm still here.
Okay, that's it. And then give that a good... Okay, that's just beginning to thicken up now, so we're going to add a little bit of our Kirsch, quiche Kirsch. Let's call the whole thing... There we are, just get a splash of that. Lovely. Really coming together now. It's hard work, this, isn't it, eh? God, dear. Anyway, let's transfer that now into our bowl. Beautiful. Just pop that in there like that. Perfect. Look at that. Absolutely lovely. I like that, didn't you? Eh? I love a good old dollop of cream. And I've got my brownies now. Look at these, eh? Wow. Oh, look at this. You can just feel that love. There you go. Beautiful. You can hear, listen. Can you hear that lovely crunch? Oh, gorgeous. Wow. And just look at that lovely goo. Look at that, look, if I squeeze that, you could just see that. Ooh, gorgeous. We do like a little bit of chucky goo. Yes, we too like a little bit of goo. How about you? Do you like your brownies gooey? Yes, yes, I do. And then you dust them, and you serve them to your guest. And everyone will come around and say, hey, you make the best brownies yet. I'm delighted to have actor, singer, and dancer is the wonderful John Partridge in my kitchen.
Well, you should be my agent. How about that?
John, great to have you here.
How the devil are you?
I'm really good, actually. Last time I saw you, we were taking our clothes off.
I know, I was going to say, I hardly recognised you.
Oh, I know, the full Monty, but it was great, wasn't it?
It really was an overwhelming response and kept that conversation going for me.
Yeah,
you know.
Fantastic. Now, what about you and your tea time treats? Is it the time of day that you like to sit down with your partner, have a cuppa and a bit of cake, or what?
An afternoon tea. I mean, my mum used to love an afternoon tea. There's a place in Bolton, and we always used to go there on a Sunday. There's an antiques fair. My mum loved loved a knick-knack. So we'd always go and have a look for a little knick-knack, and then we'd stop off for a cream tea afterwards. Love it.
Oh, wonderful. Now, you're a bit of a mean cook yourself. What are you going to be preparing for us today?
You say that to all the boys. But I'm going to be doing my sausage rolls. What else? It's quite easy, actually.
Okay.
It's a wet pastry. Normally when people start making it, they think, I've done something wrong because it is quite wet. But it's really easy to remember. It's 250 grams of flour.
Okay.
250 grams of butter. I cube mine. You want to get that in. If you're going to do it the good old-fashioned way, get your fingers in there. Just mix it all up. Make
a bit of a rub.
Yeah, have a little rub.
Okay.
Get a fine breadcrumb going. And then I have a secret ingredient in this pastry, Ainsley.
Do you share that with people? Because a lot of the chefs that I work with, they say, I've got a secret ingredient, and they never reveal what it actually is.
Well, I am going to share mine, you know, because I'm feeling in a sharing, caring mood. And mine is Greek yogurt.
Oh, wow.
170 grams of Greek yogurt. I say that, my husband is Greek, so I've always got Greek yogurt in the fridge. We have it breakfast, lunch, and dinner in our house. So I put a little Greek yogurt in there, and what that does is it just gives it a really... It just makes it really wet.
Yeah.
But also, when you bake it, it makes it really, really, really flaky. All you're going to do is bring all of that together. Once it comes together, you're going to roll it into a ball, and you're going to flatten it into a disc. Because I always find when I put my pastry away, because this pastry, because it's so wet, it needs to chill for 2.5 hours. As you can see, that's come together really quite quickly. And what happens is, once you flatten that down into a disc, you can see that you've got these lumps of butter, you see they've got the Greek yogurt that's all through it. As you put that in the oven, it just releases all that buttery goodness. I'm telling you.
So it's a very quick version of a puff pastry, isn't it?
It's a very quick version of a puff pastry. And that, now, we're going to wrap that in some cling film.
Okay.
And that's that done. Filling.
Yeah.
Pork mince.
Okay.
Yeah, we got 500 grams of pork mince straight in there. Now, I put a piece of stale bread in here. That's what I normally do. I whack in some breadcrumbs in there because you want that to bring it together, to give it some body. So we put in 1 slice of bread. So here we got 1 teaspoon of dried oregano. Once again.
That's quite traditionally Greek too, isn't it?
Once again, as you know. And then I will also put in a teaspoon of French mustard. Now, you can either use Dijon or you can use the darker version as well. I use both of them. That goes in there too. Then also, I will crack 1 egg into this too, just to bind that all together. And then I'm going to put a bit of a fresh herb in there. Although you've got the oregano in there, I've got fresh herbs growing in my garden. I've got sage. And I've got rosemary, so normally I'll put this in
Well, they're quite robust herbs, but they're perfect. They really, you know, they give off a lovely flavour, don't they?
Yeah, well, with the pork, isn't it? You want to have something
So who does most of the cooking at home, you or your hubby?
Listen, I lived on my own from being 16 years of age. I went into Cats in the West End when I was 16, so I had to learn my way around a saucepan. I guess in the early part of my career, I ate for fuel. I didn't necessarily eat for pleasure. And for somebody who spent the 80s and the 90s in Lycra, I can tell you there wasn't much eating going on. You know, because it shows.
People don't realise the discipline that you have to go through to do that type of job.
I mean, dancers are like athletes. That's what you do, and you have to maintain your body in that way. So we've put that together into a ball. What I do now is I split that into 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop that one there. I just mould it into my hand. And all we're going to do now is roll this into 2 sausages, about 30 centimetres in length.
Yeah.
But I think food, for me, I found that real connection with it in the sense that it evokes such strong memories. Now, whether that's, you know, your mum's custard, your nan's gravy, your dreadful school dinner that you hated with the skin on top of the rice pudding, it takes you back to that point. And I sort of used food in that way to reconnect with the person I was maybe before life got in the way.
This is what the programme's all about. We just want people to kind of be able to experience some memories, look back at things, you know, all these wonderful retro dishes. It's all about just sharing memories. So it's great. And you are sharing also quite a few memories in your book too, aren't you, mate?
I like what you did there.
I know, but you do, but that's what food's all about.
It is. And in some ways, I guess you call my book a food memoir, really, because each recipe, there's over 108 recipes in the book, and they're all attached to a memory. So, you know, we've got the 2 little sausages here. Now, what you can do, if you want to, is you could wrap those up in cling film, bung them in the fridge for a little bit.
Firm
While
them
you
up.
have a cup of tea, firm it up a little bit.
Okay.
So this one has been chilling. So what I tend to do with this is I will just put my pastry down and I will cut it in half.
Yeah.
I'll cut that one in half. I'll pop that off to the side. Now, one thing about this pastry, oh, she's a thirsty girl.
Yeah. Okay.
She's a thirsty pastry.
Right, right.
So,
Plenty of flour.
So plenty of flour. So listen, we're just going to roll that out. And the thing with the sausage roll, you don't have to do this crazy, easy roll. You can just, it can be a bit wobbly around the edges.
Yeah.
You just want to get it out into a nice rectangle, long enough to get your sausage in the centre of it.
Okay.
And what I do, just pick my sausage up, put it here.
Yeah.
I get a little egg wash. I'm going to pop this down this side.
Yeah.
And then we're going to roll it up.
Beautiful.
And that pretty much is it.
That's it? That's what it's all
We
about?
roll it all over.
How long would you cook something like that for, John?
So this, 30 minutes, 180 fan or 200
lovely.
convection. Then I will chop it. 1, 2, 3.
Wow, that's a nice bite, isn't it? That's a good, beautiful, juicy
I
bite.
get this is my little tray here. Then I give it a little egg wash. Now you can put whatever seeds you want on these. You can put some fennel seeds on. You can put some cumin seeds on. But today I'm going to put on some poppy seeds.
Yeah, funny
Little
stuff.
sprinkle of
Beautiful.
poppy seeds.
Thank you very much.
And then we're gonna
I
put
love
some-
poppy seed, yeah.
And then we put, because we always like two seeds, and then we put some nigella seeds on
Yeah.
as well. But like I say, you can actually do whatever you want. And I promise you, this pastry, it is going to be the best darn pastry you've ever had in your life. We're going to pop these into the oven.
Yeah, and I'm going to pop the kettle on. That is
That's
fantastic.
good to
Clear up, let's
clear
have a
your
cup
mess.
of tea. Smell good.
Yes.
Oh, look at this, eh?
That.
Fabulous. Oh,
Now we're going to just pop one of these out for you. And we've also got a little bit of chutney here.
oh yeah.
Look at this.
Keep
I'm
it
gonna
simple,
pop that
eh?
one on there for you.
Oh, you're a lovely man. Thank you very much indeed.
I'll keep this one for me.
Yeah, let's have a bite of that.
Hit me.
Do you know what? I wouldn't know that that's not puff pastry. It's still so light, still so flaky and lovely, isn't it? So puffy, you know, that butteriness.
It's really light and it's really flaky. Excuse me talking while with my mouth open.
Really, really lovely.
Yes.
Oh. I've got John Partridge, wonderful sausage rolls. I've got a lovely cup of tea, and I've got to say, guess what? There's so many more tea time treats coming your way. Cheers, mate. Now it's time for the lovely Juliet Sear with a real showstopper. Check this out.
I love hosting afternoon tea, it's a real treat, and it's wonderful to impress your guests. I've taken a classic scone recipe, but given it a twist and turned it into an amazing, show-stopping centrepiece. So the first thing we need to do is make the scone. In my bowl, I've got some flour, and first of all, I'm going to give it a bit of extra lift with some baking powder, just about half a teaspoon. And just mix that round with my fingers. To that, I'm going to add my butter. It's nice and ice cold because I want to create some breadcrumbs with this. So I'm just going to add it in like that. And then just between my fingertips, just rub it. It's quite fun actually, it's quite satisfying. And just keep doing this for a few minutes until you've got a kind of breadcrumb consistency. And that's going to make sure that our scones are nice and light when they bake. So I've been doing this for a few minutes and that's looking pretty perfect. It's nice and breadcrumby, no big lumps in there. So now I just need to add in my sugar and give it a gentle mix through. So just toss it through. So now I just need to add some milk. And a nice dash of vanilla extract. So I'm just going to bring it together. I'm using a spatula because it's quite sticky. So I'm just going to work that in. Not too much, I don't want to overwork it. I want to keep it as light as I can. So that's ready. Now, this is the twist. I'm going to bake it in two 8-inch cake tins so it creates a layer cake. So I've base and side lined these. And I'm just going to divide the dough into roughly 2 equal parts. It is sticky, so I'm just going to put a bit of flour on my surface here. And just dump the whole amount on top of that flour. suppose. And it's quite handy just to put a little bit of flour on your hands. So just separate with your hands and just make sure they're roughly equal, so you might need a bit more in there. So I'm just gonna gently put this into a little ball, so just bring it together, just being very light with it. And now I just need to roll it out. There we go. It's quite nice to pat it actually, it's a nice puffy dough. So just gently roll. Just very carefully, just lift it up and just swiftly dump it into the first tin. So that's in the tin. And I just need to use my fingers and just push it, just to kind of come almost all the way to the edge, just a few millimetres, because when it bakes, it's going to expand and puff up. So give it a bit of room. Just place that to the side and do exactly the same thing for the second layer. So the last thing to do is just glaze the top of each of these with some egg wash. And this is going to give it that lovely golden brown scone effect on the top. Little birdies come to visit me for tea. There, so that's done. They're ready for the oven. So I'm just going to bake these on 180 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes until they're cooked through, risen and golden. Here we go. So both of our scone layers have completely cooled down. So now it's time for the assembly, which is the fun bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is just have a look at them and decide which one I want to be on my top. So I think I'm picking this one to be my top. So I'm just going to shave off a small amount on the top of this one, not too much, so that jam can soak in. And also this is going to help to level it so that we don't have a wonky centrepiece. So pick your stand and then place the first scone layer on. I've got some lovely jam here and I'm just going to spoon that over the base layer. About half a jar is going to go on here, half to 3/4. Spread that evenly over my base layer. And it doesn't matter if it kind of splats out the sides a bit, it makes it all the more inviting, I think. And now the clotted cream, the classic for your scone recipe. Lashings and lashings, look at that. Well, the perfect tea time treats. And now it's time to top it off with the next layer, so on it goes. Look at that. Delicious! And there it is, my epic scone layer cake. Perfect centrepiece for your afternoon tea.
Well, Julia, that was so, so lovely. I love the idea that she put a twist on a Victoria sponge using that scone base. And to start with, put all that lovely jam and clotted cream. Was that lovely? I could have eaten it just like that. Brilliant. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but I also like to have a little bit of a savoury influence when it comes to tea time. And I think my next recipe is absolutely perfect for that. That is my cheesy chive and bacon muffins. Now, I've got some bacon that I've just cooked off here. You can see that. Look at that in the pan, still sizzling. So what I'm going to do in order to eliminate that fat and just keep that lovely bacon is put that on some absorbent kitchen paper. And I'm going to turn off the heat, okay? Just the heat from the pan will be enough to melt the butter. Once you've done that, I've got my flour here and baking powder, couple of teaspoons of baking powder into our flour. Then we're going to take some cornmeal, all right, which is like polenta. I think the only difference here is you get different grades. So if you're a polenta or a cornmeal fan, you will know some can be a little bit coarse or some can be fine. Either one works perfectly with the muffins, all right? And then the sugar. Important to add a little bit of sweetness. All right, that's it. I'm just going to move that bowl aside because I'm going to chop up my chives now for you, all right? Then I'm dragging all of that, like that, into my bowl. We all have different techniques, but I just like that. All right, that goes in there, like that. Perfect. Gives that a little bit of a play there. That's beautiful. Lovely. Now, what about that cheese? Let's bring this back up here. I'm not going to put all of my cheese in here. I'm going to keep a little bit of that cheese and we're going to sprinkle just a touch of that on the top before we put these, or pop them into the oven. OK, the remainder of that cheese, I'll just pop that down there for now. And let those bacon bits have been draining there. You can see that, we've collected all that oil. Pop that into there too. And then my glass bowl, 1 egg. That's it. And I'm just going to whisk that together. Here's my whisk. Take that milk. Perfect. Lovely. And then the melted butter. All of that, look at that. All of that is going in there, look. There they are. Lovely. That's it. Just mix that through a little bit, and then we can start to mix that and bring our muffin mix together. Nearly there. Touch more. I think that is fine. Don't over mix any of those things. Just kind of falls off the spoon so much easier. That's it. Starts to get a little sticky again. Back into the hot water. Ah, I've got to tell you the smell. Oh, look, I've done it. Let's be talking about that. I've got a bit lazy, look. I know what you're thinking. No, 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 no. And why shouldn't you, eh? But chefs, anybody can make that mistake. There you go. That's it. And those that are looking a little bit light, you can just top them up. But remember, in order to make them extra cheesy, you can just sprinkle a little bit of that cheese on the top there. Just a touch. Look at that. There we are. Hey, absolutely perfect. Let's get those in the oven. That's 200 degrees centigrade, gas mark 6, for about 20-25 minutes until they puff up, lovely and golden. Then we'll take them out and wipe them on a rack. Here you go. I love the way when the cheese melts on these guys and you get kind of that almost two-tone effect happening on the top of your lovely muffins. Just going to pop these on here. Oh, look, there's not enough space for all of them. Wow, snap that in half. Ah, look at that, eh? Isn't that lovely? You can see that bacon, the chives and everything. So, so nice. Can't beat that salty bacon taste, can you? Chives and cheese. It is just the perfect combination. And now Candice Brown puts a naughty twist on a lemon drizzle cake.
So today I am going to be making a lemon and lime gin and tonic drizzle cake. It is fruity and it is just lovely. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use self-raising flour, then golden caster sugar. Now it's really important to make sure that the butter's quite soft, otherwise you're going to end up with lumps. Okay, then we have got 4 eggs. We then want 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and that just helps give you a really kind of nice light sponge. We're going to zest in 1 lemon and then 1 lime. Okay. And then 50 mils of tonic water. And then finally, because I just think it works so, so lovely with lemon and lime, is a little bit of rosemary. So in goes our finely chopped rosemary. We're just going to blitz that all together until it's really, really nice and smooth and light. My thing is, if it tastes okay raw, it should be all right cooked. That's really lovely because you can already taste the lemon, you can already taste the lime in it. So, in with our cake mix. So once you've got all your mix in, you want to just spread it round. Okay, so just give it a little jiggle. Then that now goes into the oven at 160 For around, I'm gonna say 35 to 45 minutes. So while our lovely lemon and lime gin tonic drizzle cake is baking, I'm going to show you how to make the naughtiest, cheekiest, filthiest Rocky Road cookies ever. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop in 125 grams of soft unsalted butter. Along with that, I'm going to go in with 200 grams of soft brown sugar. While that is going on, I'm going to chop all of the stuff that is going in. Dried cranberries, pecans, white chocolate chunks, Oreos, and I'm going with mini marshmallows, but that is not it because we've got a little secret going right in the middle. Okay, so that's been on for a couple of minutes. Now, can you see that has gone really, really pale? It's now light and fluffy, and that's the consistency we wanted. Then we're going to add in 1 egg. Perfect. So our egg's been mixed through. So into that, I am now adding in plain flour, cocoa powder, and that is my drizzle cake. Look at that. That honestly smells just so incredible. So while that cools down ever so slightly before we drizzle, I can finish off my cookies. So I'm going to add in a half a teaspoon of baking powder, pinch of salt, now it's really, really important you don't overmix your cookie dough. Now this is where you can literally add whatever you like. Oh my gosh, just look at that. So the size of the cookies, we want to be using about a dessert spoonful. We have got some caramel here, and we've also got some toffees. So a teaspoon, you just want to make sort of a little gap. Oh, goodness me, this looks just delightful. Okay, then we're going to take a little bit more of our cookie mix, and we're going to pop that kind of over the top. And what you want to do is kind of just hide that caramel if you can. And I'm literally going to do the same thing with the toffees. These are going to go into the oven for 10, 12, 14 minutes maximum. Just look at those. I mean, that's pretty much a meal in itself. And now for the drizzle. So, tempting as it is, the gin and the tonic is going into the drizzle. So we're going to put those in together. Then we're going to add in around about 50 grams of caster sugar. Then we want the juice of the lemon and the lime that we zested earlier, so no wastage. Give that a little mix, okay, and then I'm just going to pop that on a medium heat on the hob and let that bubble away. Right, now for the moment of truth. Yes, and as you heard, it did not stick. And just look at that beauty. What I now need to do is poke some holes into the sponge. So when I drizzle the syrup over, it goes right down and seeps all the way through into that sponge. A little bit fancy, gin and tonic drizzle cake, followed by the very fun and the very, very naughty Rocky Road cookies. Oh, I don't know which to have first.
Well, Candice, you really have spoilt us. Not one, but two very indulgent tea time treats there. Thank you very much for that. Lovely. And I've got a couple of ideas here. I'm going down that high tea kind of route. Do you know what I mean? Because quite often it's a little sandwich here and there. But if you want to sort of posh things up a little bit, you want to be just sort of a little bit more, you know, like, she's got tartlets on her menu. That's why I want to do for you my savoury afternoon tea tartlets. Nice combination here, not difficult. And first we're going to be starting off making the pastry. Take your flour, put that into the food processor. Okay, you could do this by hand, of course, but if you've got one of these, and, you know, most of us have, Some are in the cupboard. And I've got 1 egg here. I'm going to crack my egg, and I'm just going to beat that up a little bit. Just going to add a little bit of water to that. It's my way of doing it when I'm making pastry. That's lovely. Now, we're going to start this off. And what we're looking for at this point is the breadcrumb stage. You've heard of that before. All right, then we want to bring that together. So gradually, not all of that, but I'd certainly say about half of that. Okay, and that's looking quite good. And just a little bit more. There we are. All right, and then you can see all I'm doing, taking out that blade, look at that. I just rub that together, and there you have it. There you have your perfect pastry. All right, now, a little bit of flour there. I'm going to do this on the board. I'll turn the board over afterwards. Right, let's just roll this out. There you go. A little bit of flour. So you can see that. Look at that. Can you see? That's the type of thickness that I'm looking for. Then I want to take my cutter, dip that in the flour, and just punch a few of those out. We're just going to pop those in there now like that. Don't be too fancy. Use your fingers just to push them in there like that. All right? Here you go again. A little bit of pricking going on there. Okay, just prick your base. There you go. I sound like a rapper there, don't I? Prick your base, prick your base. When you're making pastry, prick your base, prick your base. That's it. So I'm not even going to look at you. Go away now. Pop those in the fridge first, chill them down, pop them into the oven, and we blind bake those off. Take them out, and we can start filling them. That's the interesting part coming up right now. Look at that. Now, what about the filling for those tartlets? First one I'm going to do here, I've got the salmon with mustard, Dijon mustard and dill. Over here, I'm going to be doing an artichoke with ricotta, lemon and mint. And this one's going to be the tomato, basil and ricotta too. So you've got a combination. Let's start off here with the salmon. You're taking your cream and pouring that into your bowl. 1 egg. That's it. And then to that, a little bit of mustard. Dijon mustard's fine. That's it. Lovely. So simple, isn't it, eh? That's a lovely little creamy mixture there. I'm going to start down here, guys, taking a little bit of this hot smoked salmon and popping it in there like that. Just a little bit. Do you see that? A touch of dill. All right, there you go. Look at that. Just a little touch of that. Almost like you're spiking it on the top there, just a little bit. Okay, and then we're just spooning that little bit of that creamy egg custard on the top there like that. That's all right. Just keep that in there. There you go. There you go. Beautiful. That's one selection there. Okay, that's the salmon with the dill. Okay, what about another choice that I've got here? Well, we've got some ricotta that I've got here with an egg. Ricotta going into your bowl along with 1 egg. Just going to bring that together. That's lovely. And then we've got some artichokes. So just chop it up and pop them in there like that. There you go. A little bit of garlic there going inside too. And a touch of lemon zest. Oh, Really using my grater today. So glad I got that grater for Christmas. And if you do posh it up a little bit, how about popping a little bit of chilli flake into this beautiful mixture? And a little bit of mint. Let's just shred some of that up. That's fresh mint. All right, look. There we are. A little bit of mint going in there too. All right, beautiful. Nothing more than that, really. What's really beautiful is all these dishes that I've got here, 10, 12 minutes in the oven for all of these, and they are ready to go. All right, there you go again. Beautiful. That's it. And the tomato one, the tomato, ricotta and basil, same principle. You've got the ricotta with the egg, all right? Chopping up, shredding up some of that basil, like I did with the mint. A little bit of parmesan going in there too. But there we have it, guys. OK? Look at that, so simple. Let's show you the end result. Here you go. Aren't they nice? All right, I'm going to serve a few of those up and pop those onto a plate. And then I think I'll pop the kettle on again. Hey, right, let's get those out. One there. That's quite pretty, isn't it? Really, really lovely. And there you have it, my savoury afternoon tea tartlets for that everyday special occasion. What a perfect way it has been to celebrate the nation's most treasured time of the day. Black Forest brownies with Kirsch cream, a layered scone cake, cheesy chive and bacon muffins, gin and tonic drizzle cake, and my savoury afternoon tea tartlets. What a treat. I don't know about you, I think I fancy another brew. Go on, pop the kettle on. See you soon.
Yeah, good boy, Bob.
I tell you what, there's nothing quite like a plate of your favourite grub. Our favourite tucker feeds our bodies and souls.
Well, thank you.
So, in this series, I'm celebrating the dishes closest to all our hearts.
Lovely.
I've spoken to some fellow chefs to ask them what dishes they love the most.
Look at that beauty.
It smells delicious.
Trust me, you've got to try it.
I've had a few famous faces round to cook their favourite food for me.
She's in the house. Hot and spicy here, babe.
Like a bit of spice.
So do I.
Can't concentrate, Ainsley.
And I've been doing some culinary reminiscing of my own, cooking up some of the most treasured recipes I've collected over the years.
Do you like your brownies gooey? Yes, yes, I do.
The result is a collection of wonderful recipes from around the world that I know are going to inspire you to get into your own kitchens, to cook up and spruce up some of your old favourites.
Welcome to the food we love.
Our theme today is fakeaways, recreating those takeaway dishes right in your home. What's your favourite? Italian, perhaps you like a bit of Indian, Chinese. We'll be discovering and bringing great dishes right into your kitchen. Journalist, television presenter and Strictly co-star Anita Rani is in my kitchen. She'll be cooking up a spicy storm with her smoked aubergine curry.
Woohoo! Yes. This is going to be fiery. All right.
Yes. Jeremy Pang will be rustling up a Chinese classic and one of Britain's most favourite takeaway dishes, crispy chili beef.
Oh, there's something very naughty but nice about this.
And my old mate Aldo Zilli is in his garden firing up the pizza oven, sharing his secret recipe to make his VI Pizza Romana.
I could go up there, but I won't because I probably won't find it again.
And I'll be experiencing the flavours of India with my cauliflower, butternut squash and spinach damsak. But first, I'm going to be bringing some Caribbean sunshine into your kitchen with my jerk pork belly, along with a beautiful coconut and mango slaw and some clap hand roti. Belly pork's very trendy at the moment, and I used to love going down to the takeaway, the little Caribbean takeaway. There wasn't that many around when I was a kid growing up. Very few. You had to travel far and wide to get them. But when you did, then you got something very, very special indeed. I'm going to score this rind, okay? And that allows some of that lovely flavour which we're going to introduce later, to penetrate, and more importantly, we get a lovely crispy crackling. Same thing the other way, just scoring it like that. You see that running that knife right across there. Now, what about what we're going to add to that? Well, I want to make up a jerk marinade to bring that pork alive. So I'm going to start off with just a bit of onion into your food processor. Okay, I've got a couple of Scotch bonnet peppers. We all know about that. I often say to people, it's not just about the heat, it's also about the flavour. So we're going to take that, throw that in there like that. Okay, I've also got a bit of ginger. You can see I'm just sort of roughly chopping this up because the real work's going to happen when I blitz this in the food processor. My little friend here, which is a fresh piece of turmeric, just popping that into my food processor again, along with some garlic. That's going in there. I've got a bit of fresh thyme, literally just ripping that, popping that in there, pulling off those lovely, beautiful scented leaves. All of that goes inside. And finally, I'm going to add a little bit of spice just to kick that up, just like that. Okay, just going to blitz that together now. Okay, now for the liquid. We've got about 30 ml of a couple of tablespoons of white wine vinegar, and the same with the soy sauce. That's lovely. Give that another blitz. And there you have it, guys. The perfect jerk paste. I'm just going to turn that pork over there like that. So I want to show you the other side of that. Bring that up here. Oh, look at this. That beautiful jerk seasoning. And just ease that over that meat there. Look at that, making sure that you really get a good penetration or even coating right over the top of that. Yeah, boy, like a little bit of Caribbean flavour going in there. Yes! And then we're going to pop that into our fridge, and 2 or 3 hours really would be fantastic. If you can do it overnight, you're rewarded big time. So let's just transfer these over. Hey, check this out, guys. Look at that. I'm going to turn this over and just show you that beautiful flavour. Look, all of that lovely marinade there. Look, that's really penetrated into the meat. Okay, and I'm going to put that into my roasting tray. Skin side up. You see that? What I mean is rind side up. All right, and here you can see it's kind of literally all those lovely spices and everything have kind of merged together, but it's not quite as loose as I'd like it to be. So add a little bit of water to loosen it, and I'm just going to take that and I'm going to pour that around the edge, and we're going to start that off in the oven at 220 degrees centigrade. That's really quite high, but it's only going to be like that for about 20 minutes, okay? And that's really to get set off that crackling there, to just really get that heat penetrating into it. Then we're going to reduce the heat to 160 degrees centigrade, so that's quite a dramatic drop there. And we're going to leave that in there for 1.5 to 2 hours, and we're just going to let that cook down. And wow, it's going to be something quite special. Okay. Now, what about that coconut and mango slaw? I've got some cabbage that I've cooked up, white cabbage that I've sliced up, not cooked up, just sliced up, along with red cabbage, combination of the two. Could it be just the one? Of course it could be the one. But, you know, it's all about sunshine in the Caribbean and getting some beautiful colours into your food, that type of thing. Also, some lovely mango shards there. Grated coconut, fresh coconut that I've grated. You can actually buy it in pieces now, which I think's really convenient in supermarkets. With the addition of some lovely fresh herbs. I've got some coriander and mint there. So all of that can go in there. And big, bold, and really, really lovely. We do have to dress it. And that's also quite simple. I've got orange here, and I'm using the zest of the orange. We've got the orange juice in there. We've also got some lime juice. Be a lime, a liquor rolling. What you doing? I'm releasing the juice. How you doing that? I'm rolling. There you go. Give that a little bit of a squeeze. And I'm going to put some honey in there. All right. Beautiful hot pepper sauce. There you go. Oh, indeed. A little splash of olive oil, a touch of salt, and a little bit of pepper. All of that in there. Give that a little bit of a invigoration. Invigoration across the nation as we all sit down for a takeaway tonight. It's gonna delight you when you see the food. And then you have that succulent bite. Yeah, boy. Oh. Just so nice. You know what I'm like with dressings? I kind of like the idea of just spooning on some dressing to start with. I don't like pouring everything on. And then you can always come back afterwards. All right, so we've got that going on there. And then we can just fork that through like that. Look at that, beautiful. Bring that alive. Now, it's all about serving. Okay, right. Something about opening up an oven door when you're cooking and the aroma hits you. Hey, check that out. Oh, boy. Listen. Cracky. I got cracky. By my porky. And it jerky. Now, you've got all that lovely flavour going on in there, so that means it's going to be getting a little bit sticky when it comes to being on that foil paper, but I'll just pull that off as much as I can. We'll try and remove that onto our board. Look at that piece of meat, absolutely lovely. And then we can start to chop up this boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, this baby pig. Oh. Look at that, beautiful. Just love it when it's like that. And then I'm just going to put it into beautiful pieces. Look how lovely and luscious that meat looks. Look, absolutely divine. We've got some coleslaw. So we're just going to pop that into our dish here. And I've got some beautiful roti that I've cooked here, clap pan roti. Just a few miniature ones. And don't worry about if you're thinking about how do you make those, Ains? Everything, all the recipes we have, we're going to be able to pop them onto our website, so you'll be able to have those. Just check that out. Look a bit of salt on the top there, man. Yeah, I like it salty. I also like the fact that you can go to a takeaway and you can get jerk pork belly with a bit of mango and coconut slaw and some clap ham roti. What's the name of it, Ains? It's Ainsley's Takeaway. Coming up a little later, we have Chef Jeremy Pang sharing with us his version of that classic Chinese takeaway, crispy chili beef. I like that, didn't you? But first up, ladies and gentlemen, we have a super talented journalist, a fantastic TV presenter, and I've boogied with her too. It's the gorgeous Anita Rani. Oh dear. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm just like, I'm about to cook for you, Ainsley, which is slightly nerve-wracking, but, you know, all good.
It shouldn't be at all, because you do such things, you do things with such style and easiness, you know what I mean?
Well,
but I was talking about takeaways. The whole programme is really, we're calling it fakeaways. Do you sometimes indulge in your takeaway?
yes, we do. I love cooking, and I like to cook daily, but we do love a good takeaway. Who doesn't love a takeaway pizza? Or Chinese?
Yeah.
And my husband just loves kebab rolls.
I love it. Now, what about this dish? Is this something that you've learned from Mum, Granny, or is it your own creation that you're going to cook for us today?
No, this is a traditional Punjabi home-style recipe that people have been cooking, I would say, for centuries in the north of India.
OK.
So I'm making bengan bharta. It's an aubergine curried mush. And the reason I love it is because you smoke the aubergine. So what you first do is you get your aubergine and you put it on a gas fire, a flame, and you just char the skin like that. It's going to give it this lovely smoky flavour. So I start cooking it.
Yeah, please
All
do.
right, let's get some
Please
oil
do.
in the pan.
So, you know what we're like. We get together, we just be talking
I know,
and
we
forget the
talk
cooking,
forever.
and then we can order a takeaway.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I have been known to do that. Right, I'm going to put the cumin in. So I'm going to put about a teaspoon and a bit in. I love cumin. This is my favourite spice.
OK.
And that was the end of that.
Onions are toasting
Thank
nicely
you very
here.
much. The thing about the way I think curry, and you know this, I'm not teaching you, Ainsley. You're sorry, like master chef. People always make a mistake of not cooking the onions for long enough.
Yeah.
You can't have raw onions in a curry.
Nah.
You've got to just keep them going.
Yeah.
This one doesn't need to be low and slow. This one can be toasted off.
OK.
Oh, I'm properly in the zone now. I'm loving it.
Isn't it
I
lovely?
was well
It's the
nervous.
memories of
Cooking in your
cooking.
kitchen is one thing, but
Yeah.
cooking for Ainsley on telly. OK, that's happening. OK, so now I better get on with the next bit. Yes, thank you. If you can
That's
turn
all
that down. Right, now, ginger and chilli. I'm going to blend that up.
There you go.
All right, that's all right. That's happening.
That's beautiful.
Woohoo!
Nice. Yeah.
This is going to be fiery. All right.
Yes.
Right, top
Bon
tip.
everything up.
Yeah. Top tip, check the strength of your chilies before just whacking them in.
Run heat in the pot.
Absolutely. Look how happy I am. Just these smells. Come on, the smells.
It's beautiful. Of course, we danced on Strictly together, and you danced with Heaven on Legs.
The devastatingly handsome Gleb Savchenko. I think it was right at the beginning. He was like, "Don't worry, Anita. I know how to save this dance." And just took his shirt off. And that was it. That was how he was saving our samba. Ains, look at that. Check that out.
I am. Can you tell us again? Let's go over this now. We started off with the onions. You started hitting it with some wonderful spices, didn't you? And then we added the addition of the chilli.
Ginger.
No, ginger,
Yeah.
that's it. Blitzed down with a little bit of water. Put the tomatoes in there. It's so wonderfully aromatic. I've got to tell you, the smells that are coming from this are great. And then we've got the smoked aubergine, which we cooked on the fire. We're going to add that now, are we?
Yes, we are.
OK.
So this is what's going to bring the whole thing to life. I would say probably leave it for about 10 minutes or something.
OK, you let that cook down for a while. We've got one here that you just previously cooked. How are you doing there? All right, just
do
swap
that.
those over. Beautiful.
And then,
OK.
last minute, we're going to add some peas.
OK.
Yeah, so I love a nice onion salad with all the
there's something nice about having fresh salad to accompany, isn't it?
You can put some lemon juice on there. Red wine vinegar is what I'm using. Yeah, a bit of sharpness.
I think one of the great things about food is it brings people together, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, and we've had a lovely chat today. Really is lovely. Look at this.
There you go, Ainsley. Bengan bharta with an onion salad, yoghurt and a roti. Ta-da!
Oh, wow! Really, really good. So impressed. Thank you so much for this. Look at that. I'm compiling this. Beautiful. I can still smell all those wonderful spices and stuff in the air. It makes such a difference, doesn't it, eh? Kind of draws you in almost.
The pressure's on. I've just cooked for Ainsley. How is it?
Doesn't it just work every time? If you can concentrate on just bringing lots of lovely fresh spices and flavours together, the reward is there on the plate for you instantly, isn't it? But for now, we're off to meet my friend and award-winning chef, Jeremy Pang, who's going to be showing us his take on that classic Chinese takeaway, crispy chili beef.
Crispy chili beef, it's one of those Cantonese dishes that is so popular, not just here, but all over the world. And this is my chili beef recipe. So we're going to start with a base of ginger, garlic, 1 to 2 chilies, depending on how hot you want it. Onto the steak. I've got some rump steak here. I actually froze this for about 45 minutes. When you slice your chunks or strips of beef out, then it's much easier to get sort of more uniform strips of beef. I'm just gonna carefully take that in half before I then cut strips of beef out. The beauty of a cleaver is that you can sort of really use the surface area to hit things with. Now I can do nice chunky strips of my rump steak. So the meat's all cut up. I'm gonna season this or marinate my meat. And marinating your meat's really important when you're cooking this type of food. So a couple of spoons of light soy sauce, roughly a teaspoon or so of sesame oil, and then a pinch of sugar. And in Chinese cooking, we believe that everything has its own sweetness, so that pinch of sugar accentuates that sweetness. And then you want to give that a good massage through, get all that sauce and sesame oil wrapped around the meat rather than sitting at the bottom of the bowl. So I'm just going to make up the sauce. I'm actually starting with what we call a Qingqiang black vinegar, which is a black rice vinegar. But if you can't find this, then just swap it out with a thin balsamic vinegar, 4 spoons of honey, and that's going to caramelize very quickly because of that honey. And then I'm going for 3 tablespoons of ketchup. That's already smelling like a Chinese takeaway or fake away. And then the last sauce that I'm going to add to this is just about half a tablespoon of dark soy, and that will really deepen that sort of deep red colour. So my beef's been marinating away. Time to crack the egg in. And the egg's just to help sort of bind the flour. I've got lots of corn flour here, and I'm going to keep adding more corn flour into this sort of eggy, marinated meat. And what it creates is a sort of dry, dusty, white batter. You'll know when it's ready, when you can kind of lift your beef up and separate out your pieces of beef by just sort of running your fingers through it. Right, onto the cooking. Now, anything wooden will tell you sort of what heat your oil is at. If it fizzes in hot oil, you're at about 180 degrees C. I'm just sort of shaking my beef strips out of sort of any excess flour. Now I'm going to cook this in batches to keep each individual piece nice and crispy. Just carefully lay that in, give it a little gentle push through to separate out your pieces of beef. Oh, there's something very naughty but nice about this. So you can hear that there's less bubbling, there's much less fizzing. That's when I know that the beef is going to be really nice and crispy on the outside because it's less moisture coming out of that. It's well sealed. Whoa, look how crispy that is. So from here on in, it is seriously quick cooking. I've got my wok on a good high heat. A little bit of oil, ginger into that wok. Give it a quick stir. Garlic, another quick stir. Chili, of course, this chili beef. And then sauce straight over the top. And you should hear that immediate sizzle. Never lose your sizzle. Now you want to bring this to a vigorous boil all the way through the sauce before I add the beef in. And this is where the wok toss is seriously important. And I know, Ainsley, you love a good wok toss. So now it's starting to caramelize and bubble all the way through. My beef's going to go in. Beef in. Flick through 5 or 6 times. And to keep the crisp, no more than that, straight out onto your plate. My crispy chili beef, over to you, Ainsley.
Wow, Jeremy, that was fantastic. And the way he was handling that meat cleaver, eh? Hoo, 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 made me go crispy all over. It did, it did. I don't know about you, but after something savoury, I tend to like something a little bit sweet. So I want to do for you my chocolate chip and coconut ice cream sandwiches. Oh, yeah, they're to die for. But really, it's all about that cookie, isn't it? That base. Let me show you how simple it is. First, you take your butter, and then we're going to add our sugars. I've got a couple of sugars here. Soft brown sugar going in there. Of course, that gives it that lovely, slight toffee taste. White sugar, too. Don't forget, all your recipes are there on the website for you guys. I'm putting in just a little bit of vanilla extract there. That's perfect. And then we're just going to blend those together with our beaters. Okay. And we're just going to beat that now till it's nice and pale. Switch that off. Okay, then we can add the egg. Okay, it's a whole egg. And we continue to beat it. Slowly incorporating it into the mix, all right? And then we can turn up the power a little bit more. Lovely. You see that? That's mixed in there perfectly. Then I'm going to put my flour in next, all right? So just shake that in a little bit. Start to stir that in like that. Okay, now a little bit of bicarb of soda going in there, just half a teaspoon. And then we continue to mix. That's it. You see that? I'm not blending it completely because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my chocolate and I'm going to chop that up. There you go. Lovely. And just pop that straight in there. And it's up to you what type of chocolate you want. Do you like a dark chocolate? Do you like a chocolate with a high cocoa content, you know? One of those that just says 70% cocoa content. You know you're talking about some serious cocoa there, aren't you, eh? All of that going in there. Let's bring that back up here now. You can see those lovely bits of chocolate. And I said coconut cookie, didn't I? So there you go. That chocolate and coconut, all of that going in. And just blending that together. There we are. Just a pinch of salt there. Lovely. Right, now, just going to wrap those up. You're talking about half the quantity here now. You don't need to weigh it out, you know. A little bit of guesswork in there is absolutely fine. I don't mind that. That's it. Pop that in there like that. Spread it out a little bit. All right, you can see just kind of giving a little sort of spread. All of that will happen when you wrap that greaseproof paper around it like that. Squeeze that up like this. Okay, that's it. And when you do get to that stage, we want to get that perfect to twist the bottom, the top, or the bottom. Twist the ends until it comes together, okay? And then popping that into your chiller for a couple of hours to let them firm up. I'm going to show you now exactly what that looks like. Yo! And here you go. Okay, and we can just take those out. There's your baking tray. Now, let me just rinse off my knife here. Got some warm water. I like the idea of when I'm baking, I normally have a bit of hot water there. It just helps for sort of sliding things or cutting things or, you know, spreading things. Just helps a little bit. Now, we want these. One of those, I'm going to cut that into 8. Yeah, that one bit's going to be 8. We are making sandwiches here. So that in half there, okay? There we are, we're in half. Imagine half again. There we are, just mark that, and then you can start. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Think about half again, always looking at half. Cut. Cut, and cut. There we are. 8 pieces. Now, You need 2 trays lined with parchment paper here. Now, notice what I've done here. I've separated those. They're quite a bit apart there because they are going to spread considerably when they go into your oven. All right, and talking about the oven, you're popping them in there for, that's 160 degrees centigrade for about 12 or 15 minutes, okay? You still want them a little bit soft. Let's pop these into our oven. Well, here they are. And looking absolutely yummy, you can see those. And what I really love about this is that they're just a little bit, look at that, a little bit soft. They just give a little bit, they're a little bit gooey in the middle. Oh, get on with it, Ains. All right, then. Now, how do we sandwich them together? Ice cream. Now, you can get different types of ice cream and you can scrape them, you can do this, you can do that. What I love is I just get one of these tubs, okay? And then I get my knife and I just kind of run it down, just like this. Can you see that? Okay, and then you get a little bit of a peel back. You see where I'm coming from now, don't you? You're going, yeah, we know what you're doing, Ains. We know what you're doing. And we're just going to take a slice like that. Peel that down again. There you go. Let's have another slice of that. Oh, yes. Perfecto. Now, you know what's coming, don't you? Take the other cookie, pop that on the top like that, and there you have it. Look at that. My chocolate chip and coconut cookie and ice cream sandwich. Oh, wow. Check that out. Sometimes you don't need words. You just need your tongue, your teeth, and your taste buds, because they're about to be seriously stimulated. We're off to meet my mate Aldo Zilli now, who's going to give us some masterclass on how to make your own.
Everybody eats pizza. You can take it away, you can eat it in restaurants. So I'm going to make my version of pizza today. Right, I've got a little bit of warm water and I'm going to put some yeast in there, a teaspoon of dried yeast, okay? And it starts reacting very, very fast because you can see the little bubbles already, okay? So once you've done that, add a little bit of flour, half the amount of flour you got, 300 grams, at 0-0 flour. That's important, okay? And then you start working with your hand. You bring it in and you add a little bit more lukewarm water, okay? Always make it the day before because it needs to rise, it needs to do its bit in the fridge, and then the next day, when you're ready to cook your pizza, take it out of the fridge a couple of hours before you're ready to do it, okay? Once you got to this stage, 5 to 10 minutes. And just put a little bit of cling film, cover it in the fridge. See you tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow comes, and here we are. Woohoo, look at these babies. These were made yesterday, and now, look at that. Twice the size, nice and fluffy and soft, easy, easy, easy to use, okay? Onto the board. I'm making a VIP pizza called VI Pizza, which is something that, it's a name that is a little bit cheesy, but I created it 8 years ago, and every time it goes on one of the menus, it just flies. So this topping for the pizza is going to be a little bit different today. No tomato sauce. I'm going to mix some gorgonzola picante, which I have right here, with some truffle paste. Okay, so if you haven't got truffle paste, then mushrooms is another good ingredient to mix this with. Okay, this gorgonzola is picante, means spicy, so it's you know, strong, if you like. Okay, so gorgonzola is it's a blue, very strong cheese. So you don't want too much of it, that's what I'm trying to say. And so is this truffle paste. So we don't need too much of this, but we need enough to put on the pizza base, okay? Then what I've done is I've caramelized a few red onions. The paste is ready. The pizza dough is ready. Why don't we just do this, okay? Now, if you are not confident of stretching this with your fingers, with your hands, then you'll have to use a rolling pin. Now, the Romana, which is what I'm making, is a thin crust base. Basically, you stretch your pizza. Okay, I could go up there, but I won't because I probably won't find it again. All right, so, so here's my pizza onto this pizza shovel. So now, a little bit of this paste goes all the way around. So normally this would be tomato sauce, but in this case it's not. A bit of black pepper. Some of these caramelized onions on top of this. Now, a little bit of mozzarella cheese. So now, make sure it moves onto the shovel first, okay? That it moves so that you can leave it in the oven. So you go in one go, you got one go of this, you go in and you leave it in there, okay? The oven needs to be about 350 and it cooks. This cooks in no time at all, one or 2 minutes, okay? Have a good look every so often. It doesn't matter. You're at home, you do what you like, okay? So look, that's like a wood-burning oven now. There you go, you turn it the other way, then you put it back in, and now you let it cook all the way through. And this is looking good already. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Hey, arrivata, look at that. It looks absolutely amazing. Okay, what I've got here now, a bit of rocket, a little bit of extra chili oil, a little squeeze of this lemon. Mix, mix, mix. A little bit of salt. This is my version of a very special VIP pizza. One last thing. This is summer truffle. Oh, mamma mia. And that's just going to finish my VIP pizza off. And trust me, you've got to try it to believe it. Look how beautiful it is.
Well, thanks very much indeed for that, Aldo. A fabulous pizza, really, really lovely. The only problem is I'd love you to deliver it. Have a good old chat, mate. Have a good old catch-up. Now, I've got an absolute gem of a recipe to complete our fake-away menu. It's my cauliflower, butternut and spinach dansak. Nothing could be simpler. You know, it's one of those kind of sweet and sour Indian dishes that just deliver every time. I don't know an Indian dish that doesn't deliver. Take your cauliflower, all right, and then you want to break this into florets. So we're just kind of breaking up. Can you see that? Just separating it like that. You want sort of pieces to be sort of almost like bite-sized. And when it gets down to that little sort of stem there, the bit in the middle, what I do is I just trim that down, just cut that off there, and then continue to break up. There you go. All right, get your pan on now. Okay, fairly high heat. Okay, the idea is sometimes when you want a high heat, we're not cooking this all the way through to start with. We're just going to sort of season this up a little bit inside my bowl, and I'm going to do that with some garam masala. Just give that a little bit of a sprinkle there. That's it, maybe a touch more. That's it. A little bit of S&P. That's it, just rub that through. I'm just going to pour a little bit of oil on those. That's it, lovely. In that goes. Okay, going to brown that up a little bit. Ah, wonderful, wonderful. And it smells lovely and aromatic too. A little bit of colour on our cauliflower, all right? And we're just going to transfer that into our bowl there. Give you an idea. You can see that, look, you can see Just a little bit of colour going on there. Not all of it has to be that colour, just a little bit golden. All right then. I've already got some onions here that I have cooked down because anybody will tell you that any good Indian chef will cook their onions down for a good sort of 6, 7, 8 minutes just to soften them. I'm adding some slices of garlic to it. There you go, into your pan. A couple of centimetres of ginger, straight in there. There you go, lovely. Love a bit of ginger. And then in with our butternut squash. Okay, you can use any type of squash, actually. There's so many different varieties out there. I think butternut's sort of quite trendy. A little bit of turmeric going in there, not too much. People tend to go a little bit too mad on the turmeric. About half a teaspoon of that. All right, it does impart a lovely colour, flavour, but it is a pungency to it that can completely dominate. So you do have to be careful, all right, with that. That's okay. I'm going to add a little bit more oil, you can see there. Don't be frightened sometimes. You're going to think, oh, that looks a little dry. And it's not a sauce, it's just a way of sort of frying things off just a little bit more sometimes, okay? That's it, lovely. And look at that colour, love that. You know, turmeric's a little bit like saffron, you know, you put it in something and suddenly it goes, yeah. Okay, I've got some chilli here. 1 or 2 chilies, we'll put in 1 this time. I think that'll be fine, just to cut that down. Beautiful. Okay, chili going in. How lovely. Very nice. Got some lentils there too. Love the idea of using lentils in a dish. Yeah, I know it brings Trumpton into the house, but it's a very good flavour. A little bit of sugar going in. It wouldn't be the same without a little bit of sugar. This time I'm not actually going to be using loads of different spices. I'm going to be using a good curry paste. Have a look up there. There's some fabulous curry paste on the market. Great, you pop it in the fridge, very, very convenient, especially when you want a quick fake-away dish. That's the curry paste and some tamarind paste too there. Lovely. Beautiful. All of that's in there now. Fabulous. I like stuff when it looks like that, all those lovely colours going on. Then you start getting the sizzle. And then what happens after the sizzle? You get the... Shall we wait and listen to it? Have a listen. Here it comes. See what I mean? It's lovely, isn't it? Eh? Love that sound when you're putting stock into things like that. All right, look at this. We just cook that down. Those lentils will soak up all that lovely, lovely flavour. Okay? And what do we do at this stage? We take our cauliflower that has been salted off with the garam masala. All of that goes back in. All right, then. Just kind of using the... push that down there a little bit. Okay, bring that up to the boil, then absolutely reduce that heat right down and allow it to simmer and allow it to cook down for about 15, 20 minutes, and bang, have a look at what we've got in here. There we go. Can you see that? Look, cooked down, absolutely beautiful. Just look at the way the lentils have cooked there. We've got lovely, soft, tender pieces of butternut squash there and wonderfully aromatic. We're not finished, though. No, no, we're not finished at all. There you go. In the cherry tomatoes go. All right, lovely. Fabulous. Good squeeze of lemon juice. That's lovely. I'm going to have some coriander I'm putting in now. You can put a little bit towards the end too, but coriander going in. And I do like the idea of just incorporating the stalk and everything into it too, all right? That's absolutely fine. Just a touch more garam masala. Fabulous. All right. A little bit of that seasoning. Fabulous. And last but not least, last minute, just throw in those spinach leaves and just let them wilt a little bit. I'm actually going to turn that heat off now. I'm just going to accompany that with a little bit of rice. And then let's serve up. Wow, hey, how about that? Looking good? I tell you what, it absolutely smells terrific. There you go. Absolutely lovely. My cauliflower, butternut, and spinach dansack. Served for you. Who needs a takeaway? I do sometimes, but for the moment, that's what you're getting. What a fantastic menu of fake-away favourites we've enjoyed. Jerk pork belly with coconut and mango slaw, crispy chili beef, chocolate chip and coconut cookie ice cream sandwiches, VI pizza romana, and cauliflower, butternut and spinach dansack. Now, it's always good to support your local takeaway, but now and then it's nice to have a go at home. Enjoy. See you soon.